The Undoing on HBO. New Nicole Kidman, Hugh Grant starred show, hour long. Suzanne Bier, who is the director of Brothers, you might know her from, helming this. Adapted off a 2014 novel by Jean Hanf Korowitz, titled
Hanf. Not sure.
Hanf, titled "You Should Have Known." And I'm intrigued by this first episode. The first episode dropped last night. Left a lot of questions. I think it did a lot of setup. Really puts the mystery at the heart. It's weird seeing Kidman in this role for two reasons. One, when I see her playing an affluent woman, obviously this is East Coast, I just go right back to the other HBO show that she's in.
Big Little Lies.
Big Little Lies. I was going to say Pretty Little Liars, which is not the same thing.
No, not that.
I go to Big Little Lies, but then she's also playing a therapist in this show, and she was in a lot of therapy scenes in Big Little Lies, so Correct. It just feels like...
Also, this is a show from David E. Kelly, just like Big Little Lies.
Yeah.
Again, it's on HBO. The parallels are so obvious.
Yeah, the tone or the style feels similar. And then she's kind of playing, I wouldn't say like the same character, but, a character who's a little bit more in control and command, but there's secrets going on. There's this, air of she doesn't know everything that's happening. There's it's just so many similarities. It kind of took me out of it at times. But I do feel like the murder at the center of it, the weirdness of the woman who was murdered, and also at the end figuring out that her husband, right? Hugh Grant is obviously not being totally straight with her is also a very intriguing part. How are you feeling though after this first episode? Are you in on the show or are you middling?
Yeah, so being that it's a 6-episode miniseries, thankfully it's not like a 10-episode season. I feel like this probably will be able to sustain itself. Again, having not known the novel, but the familiarity, I also don't really mind all that much. We're also hanging out with rich people in New York, like Succession. Like there's just a lot of HBO drama touchstones that I can attach myself to. Mm-hmm. The kid's played by Noah Jupe from Ford vs. Ferrari and Honey Boy. He's obviously a rising young child star. Then you have Donald Sutherland as her father in some scenes, and Edgar Ramirez is the lead NYPD detective. So you have a cast you like, and yeah, I mean it's familiar, but I don't honestly mind that because I know Kidman's going to be good. Like as the mystery unfolds, we're going to see more of that range as her character inevitably is uncomfortable and goes through a gamut of emotions as she's trying to piece things together and come to grips with the role her husband may or may not have played in the death of someone she knew personally. So like it has all those trappings. So I just want to see how well it sustains itself. But even if it doesn't, I like the cast. I like the setting. That's good enough for me. It's for a miniseries.
Yeah. Did you how did you feel about Edgar Ramirez coming in as Detective Mendoza? Because I was getting some weird vibes off that guy.
Yeah, it seemed like he was trying to throw the wink up, raise an eyebrow. It was also kind of funny too because his partner, his colleague detective, has traditional New York City accent. I was like, all right, yeah, this is like the classic like NYPD detective guy I know. I just ask him questions, and you have Edgar Ramirez playing off of him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you have to assume that if you're going to cast someone with some stature like Edgar Ramirez, it's not just a nothing detective role, and it's going to be pretty involved. So yeah, that adds to the mystery, right?
And especially after we just talked about him in Wasp Network, he seems to have a bit of a rising star. I'm interested to see how he kind of plays out in all this. Matilda De Angelis was definitely the biggest surprise out of all this for me. Yeah. It feels like she really came in and dominated all the scenes she was in. Now, obviously, her character has a really weird presence about her. She's standing over Nicole Kidman completely naked. She's whipping her tit out to breastfeed. There's a lot going on for her, and a lot that's going to draw you to that character in general. But I really felt like she had this like gravity to her, like that scene where they're at that dinner party and Nicole, they're all kind of sitting around talking about her from a distance. Then Nicole Kidman keeps glancing over, and like the way that she's just staring at her from across the room really delivered such like a strange but like capturing feeling. It was it really struck me just how much she kind of came in and stole some of those scenes, playing opposite some more experienced and talented, and
Definitely.
not talented, but
Yeah, I'm curious to see if there's more flashback scenes and we get more of her, or if it's really just one and done. She's just gone because she's dead, you know. Because yeah, it was definitely a unique presence, and I like kind of how it played off of the clicky social circle that Kidman's character is a part of. Another similarity to Big Little Lies. So
mhm.
definitely has a lot of those ingredients that even if they're familiar, they're still kind of easy to like if the execution is good. So looking forward to the rest of it.
Just as we wrap up, quick thoughts on Hugh Grant. What, especially where he's at in his career right now.
Yeah, I mean, he's not. So, I haven't seen a lot of his stuff. Like, what he made his name in like rom coms, like back in the day, right? But
Yep.
like, I know people really love him in the Paddington movies of late.
Yeah,
So
he was a good villain in the second one for
yeah,
sure.
so it seems like he's kind of had like a late career revival, in
Yeah,
a sense similar to Kidman. You know, make a transition in your career and then be pretty successful at doing kind of the same stuff all the time, but still works.
yeah. Just kind of looking through his recent movies uh, and television appearances. He's in a 2018 he's in 3 episodes of a show called A Very English Scandal.
Yep, that was a miniseries. Yep.
He's in The Undoing. He's in the Paddington movies. He was in The Man from Uncle. Seems like
Oh,
he's
right.
making some interesting choices, and he was in The Gentleman. Obviously, we saw him as Fletcher, which was an
That's right.
interesting role.
Yeah, he
It
was
feels
really
like,
extra in that.
yeah, it feels like he's kind of trying to find this like more serious kind of moving away from the rom coms. I guess Man from Uncle isn't super serious, but kind of trying to find these more serious, dramatic roles where he gets to kind of shine in flashes and not to carry it, which I think is probably the right move for him.
Yeah.
He's an interesting guy because he really feels like early 2000s had such a huge star, and then like what's that role for a strictly like rom com type character after they're no longer able to play that role? It's fascinating.